Welcome back to Plain Faith. Today we're tackling a question that stirred debate for centuries. Is Jesus really God? Many say yes, pointing to bold claims in Scripture. But what if the Bible tells a different story, one where Jesus isn't God at all? Let's explore the clues that set him apart, straight from the text. Ready? Let's dive in. The idea that Jesus is God is central to much of Christianity. People call it the divinity of Christ. Verses get thrown around to back it up, like John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Later it says the Word became flesh, Jesus. Sounds convincing, right? Or John 10:30, where Jesus says, I and the Father are one, and the crowd tries to stone him for blasphemy. But hold on. Does this really mean he's God, or are we missing something? Let's start with the obvious. Jesus prays. A lot. In John 17, he's in the garden pleading, Father, glorify me in your presence with the glory I had with you before the world began. If he's God, why pray to himself? Why ask for glory he'd already have? It's like a king begging his own throne for power. Doesn't add up. Luke 22:42 shows him on his knees again. Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me, yet not my will, but yours be done. Two wills, his and the Father's. God doesn't wrestle with himself. This is a son submitting to someone greater. Then there's Mark 13:32, a big clue. Jesus says, no one knows about that day or hour, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father. If he's God, how can he not know something? God's all-knowing. Jesus isn't. This isn't a small slip. It's a clear line. He's the Son, not the Father, and he's got limits God doesn't. Look at his life, too. Jesus gets hungry, tired, and scared. He bleeds and dies on a cross. In Matthew 27:46, he cries out, my God, why have you forsaken me? Can God abandon himself? No, this is a human calling to a higher power, not divinity talking to itself. Sure, he does miracles like calming the storm in Matthew 8, but he credits God for it. In John 5:19, he says, the Son can do nothing by himself. He can do only what he sees the Father doing. Power borrowed, not owned. Even the big claims have cracks. John 14:9. Anyone who has seen me has seen the Father. Sounds divine, but keep reading. He's a reflection, a messenger showing God's will, not God himself. And when Thomas calls him my Lord and my God in John 20:28, is Jesus agreeing or just letting Thomas process the resurrection? Jesus never says, I am God. He says, I am the Son of God, like in John 10:36. That's a title of honor, not equality. History backs this up. The Jewish leaders didn't buy it. They saw a man claiming too much, not God walking among them. Early debates, like with the Arians, argued Jesus was created, not eternal, subordinate, not divine. Colossians 1:15 calls him the firstborn of all creation. Firstborn means he's part of creation, not its maker. Some even say an emperor like Constantine changed the Bible later to make Jesus God, but these clues were there long before him in texts predating his time. So, is Jesus really God? The Bible's clues, his prayers, his limits, his cries, say no. He's the Son, sent by God, empowered by God, but not God himself. The mystery isn't divinity, it's how close a man can get to the divine without crossing that line. What do you think? Does this hold up? Share below. Is Jesus God or God's greatest servant? Like the video if this sparked something and subscribe. We're digging deeper next time.